très bleu. C'est une inondation.
There you go, yep.
Dude, oh my God.
Hooked up, baby.
That hit like a ton of bricks, man.
Oh yeah, baby. Good steely.
My God, dude. Look at that beautiful fish.
On the spoon, baby. Look at that fish.
Well. Hello, buddy. Hello. Hello. Oh, they're good boys. South 1, South 0. That's what we want, South 0. Yo, nice. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, so guys, you see all of these screws we use do have the rubber gaskets on them. Remember I was talking about how we had the mold issue on the other side? They all have the rubber gaskets, but still, you know, it's weird why there was mold growing on the other side. There shouldn't be. We'll see what's underneath this panel. Oh, there we go. Okay, that'll work. Oh, dude. There's no mold. There's no mold on this side. Guys, there's zero mold. What the heck? Oh, hello. Hey, buddy. Oh, it's dinner time. Yeah, we'll get you your dinner. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Yeah, let's go. Okay, okay. Let's go. We'll get you dinner. Oh, the good boys. Okay. There you go. There you go. Okay. Raw beef, wind. Excellent news, folks. We are truly blessed by the gods. Look at this. So I thought that both panels were fried because I nicked the cables with the snowblower in the early winter. So then I just stopped shoveling the snow off. But it's actually only one of them. So our back panel is a fully operational Death Star now that the sun has melted the snow off of it. So we're getting like 350 to 400 watts off this guy in full sun, which is amazing. Both these are rated for 350 watts. So I've ordered a little, few little connector things so we can repair this one positive red line into the front one and get that kicking too. But the battery's at 100%. I haven't been running our Starlink internet during the day. Been charging some batteries. I've got the fridge going on there, but the battery's at 100%. That is amazing. It's so nice not to have to run the gas generator, you know, just because it's so noisy and it's just, you know, kind of disturbs the ambiance. Wow. It's still cold out there, man. It's still cold. It's still cold. It's gonna be warm tomorrow. Clovis, what are you looking at? Oh, that is a very full cup. Whoa! Well, that's an easy way of doing it. Actually, just with the tape measure, line it up along the rafter. Bing, bang, boom. There's nothing like a pound grass-fed beef to split it in half. Oh, these shoes don't have as good grip as my boots. They're much more slippery. That's not good. Okay, folks, the metal sheet's ready to go back on. Up here, we've got our strapping work rehabilitated. We're fully undersheathed with all of our blue tape. That stuff is amazing. It's so sticky though. Hello, Clovis. Hello. Oh, yes. And if you can see here, we have a 2.5-inch gap at the top of the rafters on either side. I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but we are going to install later on rafter baffles. They're going to be taking cool air from down here, bringing it up over the top of our insulation, and then shooting it out the top. So we need to leave that gap there. Oh, what a crazy man. Okay, Clovis, we got to go into town, buddy. We got to go to the hardware store. We got to do stock up on a few items for the next step tomorrow. I sat down to take off my shoes because I'm using my Spider-Man shoes when I'm doing the roof work instead of my clunky boots. I sit down, he puts his head right underneath my armpit and just sits down right beside me. He's just a crazy man. Oh! He's been chasing that same chipmunk all day. He nearly got him once. The chipmunk had to burrow down into the snow and he just disappeared. Clovis, sit, buddy. He gets so excited whenever I take out his collar. Sit! Clovis. Sit. Good boy. He knows we're going into town to see all the crazy people. I've been rereading this amazing book by a Roman historian named Tacitus. There's a crazy story in there about the Romans wiping out the Celtic Druids. Now, it's very interesting. If you ever read Julius Caesar's The Gallic War, his story about conquering Gaul, or what is modern day France, he talks in there about the Celtic peoples and their Druids. And the Druids were like, they were like priests, they were religious leaders, they were intellectual leaders. They were also kind of viewed as judges. So they had multiple roles in Celtic society. But what's so interesting, I believe in Julius Caesar's Gallic campaign, he talks about how the Celts everywhere in Europe would send their people off, those who were selected for Druid training, to Britain. And it's interesting that Tacitus talks about in Britain, the place, the kind of the homeland of the Druids was this place called Ynys Môn, which is an island that we now call Anglesey. It's just off the coast of Wales. It's kind of over near Liverpool, big island, and that's where these Druids were trained. So after the Romans actually take control of, most of the British Isles, they eventually realized, like, man, we got to take out this Ynys Môn because that would really weaken Celtic culture and allow kind of Roman traditions and Roman culture to replace it. So this guy named Governor Paulinus in 60 AD, he decides to organize a campaign to go invade Ynys Môn. And it's in a very wild part of the British Isles. The Romans really do not control what is modern day Wales at that time. So they're really deep into enemy territory and they go in and invade Ynys Môn. And apparently as the Roman infantry is landing, they construct these special flat bottom boats so they can do these amphibious, like, rapid landings onto Ynys Môn. And when they get out, apparently all these Druids are lined up on the hills and they're doing their chants and their spells and their incantations, and it freaks the hell out of the Roman infantry. They don't go to attack. They're like, what is going on? They're terrified. And there's all these Celtic women in dark robes holding torches and participating in these like chants or these spells that the Druids are doing. A lot of also Celtic soldiers who are armed waiting on the hilltops for the Roman infantry as well. Finally, the Roman commanders were able to convince the Roman infantry to charge. They managed to beat them back. They burned down a huge number of these basically Celtic groves where they practice their religion and their rituals and take control of the whole island. So it wasn't until about 15 years later under another governor named Agricola, who then goes back and sets up a full military garrison and completely wipes out all of the remaining Druid culture on Ynys Môn or Anglesey. The center of the religious and intellectual Celtic world from all over continental Europe was an island off the coast of Wales. Like, why that place? I don't think we'll ever really know.
Our attention spans are shorter. You know, we don't want to listen to Roy Jenkins speak for 10 minutes on the principle of subsidiarity.
Good night, buddy.
Guys, I was just thinking this morning, you know, why is there no mold on the strapping on this side of the roof, but there is mold on this side? And I remembered, well, I saw the only different variable is this chimney pipe. And there's a few things with the plumbing here that we haven't finished off that we really should. This could be causing the issue. So if you guys can see here, this is the plywood sheeting. Then on top of that, you know, we've got our strapping. And then there's our metal, but then there's also this metal cone, you know, that protects and seals off the chimney. Now, the problem is that I realized early on, like, oh man, you know, with this still open, a lot of hot air is going to get out from the cabin. It's going to leak out here, and it's going to leak in between the sheeting and the metal. And, you know, it can just still escape out the top because it goes up to the top. We've got the vintage ridge caps. So that is a lot of very warm air, especially in the winter, that's getting out there. And you can actually notice on the roof that when the rest of the roof has snow, this area will melt, and this will get a lot of ice buildup, quite a bit of ice buildup. And on the rest of the roof, there's almost none. So really, you know, we have to seal this off. The guy who's doing my wet certification for the stove, he said he would use concrete board.
Oh, you want breakfast? Oh, the good boys. Okay, go, buddy. Go. One of the main things to remember about heating systems for a cabin of this size is that oftentimes with a small cabin, your biggest problem is going to be it's too hot. If you use a full-size stove like we have the smallest of the full-size stoves. A full-size stove being a stove that can take logs up to, I believe it's 17 or 18 inches in length, which is a standard size firewood log. This is the smallest one they make, and this is, I think, rated for areas 500 to 1,200 square feet. Most of the time, it like the biggest issue is putting too much wood in there. So I put 3 small pieces of maple in there before I went to bed last night, relit the fire. I woke up at 11. It was way too hot. I had to crack the windows on both ends of the loft. So that's one of the main reasons why I never kind of closed off that little gap around the chimney, is because I was like, man, my biggest problem is it's too hot, you know? So I think we definitely need to change it up, though. We definitely need to seal it up, rather. Yo, these are the fasteners we need. So I was reading the instructions on the rhino lining, and it was talking about using these kind of nails with the little plastic caps. Looking good, folks. We're not going to tape the bottom here because I think if you do get any moisture, this is breathable, right? In case moisture does get in behind there. But I think at the bottom, you want to leave this open just in case there's any moisture. It can work its way out. Guys, I just realized, like, we really, at an earlier point in time, should have built in the support for this. I think maybe at least a temporary, if not a permanent thing, is to do the following. I'll show you. But I should also mention that the plan is to turn this into a narrow doorway about yay high, make it about 24 inches wide, which is kind of the minimum you want for a doorway. So let's see how far up we could go here. So we could bring it up to probably this log or this, probably to be safe on this log. But this is going to be a doorway coming out. And this is going to be kind of the master bedroom for the guest cabin out here. And then all of this will be storage. This will be turned into a storage space because it's not ideal with the amount of headroom and movement room in here. But this, with having basically the knee walls here, there's gonna be a lot more room to maneuver, and we're gonna have glass, lots of glass, so it'll be lots of light coming in here. But I think, talking with my structural engineer guy, his big thing, he keeps on talking about whenever you have support for a overhead beam, you want at least 3 inches of material. So I think that's what we'll do. Let's see what we can get jazzed up here. I mean, this is already clearly supporting the dead load of the roof quite well. We just have that one vertical post here, but this even being secured in between these two sets of rafters, I mean, this is obviously supporting the whole roof. Is the center. So according to my Googling, one of these ledger lock screws can hold up to 5,000 pounds of weight. So I think, if it's holding with that dead weight right now, adding that on should be quite robust. We're gonna have to come back and probably do something more long-term for sure, but I think for now, this will keep us safe. Well, ladies and gents, I think this is the most dialed roof we've done. I think these connectors are really the ones to use. The plastic cap nails and taping the edges is definitely the way to do it. So, any precipitation we get, it'll just roll on down, roll right off. And, no way to intrude on the sides or the top. But we do have to cover over the little gap on the top, the ventilation gap, somehow until we can get the steel up here. I don't like ordering the steel before I build out this project, even though I do know the dimensions. I've changed stuff along the way many, many times. And, You know, I just feel better waiting to the end, getting the final dimensions, then ordering, and waiting the, 3 weeks, although sometimes it's more, to get that in. Okay, folks, the next step, we got to figure out how tall are our walls going to be. I want to maximize the space, for the master bedroom, but it also has to be tall enough, especially for the shower. So most shower kits from the hardware stores in town, they're kind of between, I think, 72 and 80 inches in height. So I think we want to be a minimum of 80 inches, but really we're probably going to be closer to the standard wall height of, 8 feet. So we'll see what that looks like. Okay, go. Okay, good boy. So up here in the loft where the bedroom is, if we want to make this the same level as the floor in here. Okay, so we got 2.5 inches to the top of the middle of the 2x4 top plate. We'll see what that looks like out. That roof looks crazy. It looks so different with that blue taping and the neon green plastic caps on the nails, man. I like it. It looks sturdy. Dudes, that looks cool, man. I think that looks cool. So this is a beautiful big old spruce log. This was that giant spruce that was beside my tent that we got the drone stuck at the top of. We had to cut over. They crushed our tent. Got to make sure how deep this mold goes, though. We might not be able to use it. Yo, beautiful. Beautiful, man. The tractor barn emerges from the snow. Oh, yes. Hardest foundation we've ever done. Biggest building we'll probably build on the homestead here. Beautiful. Okay, that's good. We can use it, folks. Well, I was gonna grab this log with the excavator arm and I've done this with a couple other logs and just kind of then drive the tractor over. But I think it's gonna be too heavy for that. So I think we should, the sun is setting in like 20 minutes. Probably tomorrow morning we'll put on the forks. Dudes, are you kidding me? Waiting for the tractor to warm up. There's a sage grouse. Oh, he hears me now. We tried to hunt those things all last fall. It's closed season though. He was just standing right in front of the barbecue, looking at me. Oh well, the season's closed now. It's not open till I think September. Beast of a log. So if that's 16 inches and this is 12, what I'm guessing is if we jack this up 2 inches, the center on this will be the same as the center back there. So we should be able to do this. I think that makes sense. about here, so we'll have to cut it off. That's crazy. Holy cow. Canadian beam inspection. $122. So folks, our joists are going to be just over 10 feet. Just over 10 feet. That is very damn close. I think we're good with a 10-foot joist. You hear that, Clovis? Next step, I'm going to try to use, we've got a whole whack of these spare 2x6s. They're just kind of moderate sized chunks. I think we can use them. There should be no structural reason why we can't. Man, I wish it was grouse season. It's not. Just rush inside, get the shotgun. There he is. Oh boy. Very cool. The chicken-sized terrestrial bird. Ladies and gents, so we're sitting at, it's basically 90 inches. It's like 89 and a half. So we've got 7.5 feet of headspace that's going to be in the bathroom downstairs. And then up here is going to be the master bedroom. So this is being turned into a door. And yeah, this is where all the good views are going to be. I think there's going to be glass along there, glass and a window. Big glass, and then glass all the way along there. So there's gonna be tons of light. And we do have a little bit more headroom now that we don't have the log extending out. So I think it's gonna be pretty sweet, man. So folks, still getting a lot of questions about, why are we doing the slope on the addition different than the rest of the cabin? So there's 3 reasons. The first is functional. Functionally, by having a less steep slope, this is a 712 as opposed to a 1212, there's a whole lot more headroom inside of that second floor area. I can tell you, after living up in that loft for the last year, boy, it would be so much nicer to have more room, to maneuver about. So for the master bedroom spot up there, there's just going to be so much more room. So reason number 1 is functional. Reason number 2 is skill acquisition. So the first extension we did on this cabin, on the front, we just continued the slope straight out, right? So we learned how to do that. And for me, because this is my first time building stuff, before we build the main cabin, I want some experience, doing tricky roofs. So having 2 different slope roofs come together, all the stuff that I'm learning so far, oh my goodness, I now know, like working with my structural engineer on the main cabin, what do I or do I not want to do, for the main cabin. The third reason is for aesthetics. So I think having, the cabin is already 26 feet long by 12 feet wide. If the cabin then becomes 36 feet long by 12 feet wide with the same slope roof, it's just going to look a little weird. It's going to look like a long, centipede or something. So I didn't really like that vibe, and I wanted to try something different. Let's flare out the roof and see what it's like. So it could look worse, but I'm willing to roll the dice. We'll see how it turns out. But I think, in terms of functionality, in terms of skill acquisition and aesthetics, This is why we're doing the roof with a different slope. Starting to look serious, man. Holy cow. Strength and honor to you all. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week, guys. Drink Wolf Milk Coffee at wolfmilkcoffee.com. May the gods bless you, both the old gods and the new. And remember, folks,
If you need more ooga booga in your life, go watch the 2 years of Wild Homestead film. 2 years of action in an hour and a half film. Year 1 in about 20 minutes, then the rest being year 2 with never before seen narrations and reflections along the way. 1 man, 2 years, 5 buildings, building a homestead solo in the wild. Out now on the Wild Homestead YouTube channel.